The boss went on a business trip for a month and left his girlfriend in charge of the company. Who would have thought that her first act as the new boss would be to come after me? At 10 a.m., I arrived at the office right on time. I saw a nervous colleague pointing at the boss's office and whispering, "Tiffany is here. She wants to see you." Tiffany Fox. She was the new girlfriend of the boss, famous for her arrogance and bad temper. I set my coffee aside and pushed the door open to enter the office. I had barely stepped inside when a folder flew straight toward my face. "Do you know what time it is? The company policy says work starts at 8. Why are you arriving at 10? The sharp edge of the folder left a bleeding cut on my forehead. I brought my hand to the wound, looking at Tiffany playing boss behind the desk. My 10 o'clock arrival time was a special benefit for being the top salesperson. Everyone in the company knew about this unwritten rule. Years ago, when the boss's company was on the verge of bankruptcy, I was hired by accident. In my first month, I generated $5 million in sales, saving the company from the brink. Since then, the boss treated me as a valuable asset, always taking my opinion into account when making important decisions. Tiffany slammed her hand on the table, her face twisted with rage. "Look at your time card. You've been coming in at 10 for a whole month. Do you really think you're above company rules? According to internal policy, if you're late 3 days in a row, they can, so you can leave now." I stared at her in disbelief. "You're firing me? Did you even consult the boss? I generated 80% of the company's profits, and she had the nerve to fire me." Tiffany scoffed with disdain, looking at me with contempt. "You're just a salesperson. A nobody. What's wrong with firing you? Hello. This is my boyfriend's company. I'm the boss's girlfriend. I fire whoever I want." The boss had always treated me with respect, so I couldn't just leave like that. I sat down on the sofa. "You should ask the boss first." Tiffany rolled her eyes. "And who do you think you are to tell me that?" She called the boss directly. On the other end of the line, his voice sounded tired. "What is it, Tiffany?" A moment ago, she had been yelling at me. Now her tone changed instantly to something sweet. "Love, I miss you." The boss sighed. "Just tell me what's going on." "Nothing," Tiffany said, looking at me with a smug smile. "There's a salesperson who doesn't follow the rules. He's always late. I want to fire him." "Do whatever you want." "I need to rest," he replied and hung up. Tiffany looked at me arrogantly. "You heard that? I can fire whoever I want. Now get out." I let out a sarcastic laugh and stared at her. "Are you sure? If the boss comes back and finds out you fired me, he might not like it at all." I warned her calmly. After all, headhunters had been trying to recruit me for years with massive offers, but out of loyalty to the boss, I had always stayed. Leaving didn't affect me at all, but Tiffany wouldn't be so lucky. I turned around and left the office. Outside, my colleagues had heard the argument. Though they didn't know what had happened, they all looked at me. "Boss, what happened?" I started packing my things efficiently, smiling. "What happened?" "I got fired, that's what." My colleagues' eyes went wide. "She fired you? Tiffany's crazy. We all know you're the golden goose. Isn't she afraid the boss will break up with her?" I shook my head and chuckled. "Well, that's no longer my problem. In the end, it was her decision. She'll have to face the consequences." My coworker was furious. "But why did she fire you? Did you do something to her?" I frowned, thinking for a moment. "I guess it's because last time, when she started acting up, I defended Zoe, remember? Since then, she's been after me, looking for any excuse to bother me. Yesterday, Tiffany posted a picture of herself in the company WhatsApp group, and everyone started showering her with compliments. I was the only one who saw it and didn't comment. I guess that was the last straw. I finished packing and went to the finance department to collect my salary for the month. I had only worked 10 days, but my base salary and commissions added up to a large amount. I informed the finance girl that I'd been fired and asked her to transfer the money to my account. Shortly after, Tiffany suddenly appeared at the company entrance, looking sour. "Hey Jack Wilson, didn't I tell you to get out? What are you doing here?" I looked at her calmly. She was all proud of herself, thinking she had landed a great boyfriend. Seeing that I didn't answer, Tiffany became even more agitated. She came closer and grabbed my clothes. Are you deaf? What are you doing in the finance department? These are important company documents. Get out now or I'm calling the police. I frowned and firmly removed her hand from me. Let go of me. Since I've been fired, don't I have the right to collect my monthly salary? And I'm still being nice by not demanding severance. Tiffany looked angrily at the young woman in front of me. How much is his salary? She asked. The finance girl replied, $1,500. Tiffany's face immediately changed. How much? When the girl repeated it, Tiffany pointed at me. You violated company rules, so your salary for this month is confiscated. I let out a cold laugh. A $200 deduction for every time I was late? Is that how you do the math? Did you even finish elementary school? To my surprise, Tiffany replied confidently, it's a new rule I just made. 3 tardies and you lose your entire monthly salary. Now get out. And who gave you the right to make rules? I asked. Tiffany crossed her arms and, with her mouth wide open like a shark, replied, if I'm going to have a stake in this company in the future, what's wrong with me making the rules? I had no desire to keep arguing. Then get ready, because you're going to get served with a lawsuit. With that, I turned and left. I drove home, and just as I finished putting my things away, I saw a message in the company's Snapchat group, which I hadn't left yet. It was from Tiffany. From now on, everyone must respond to any message I post on Snapchat or WhatsApp. Anyone who doesn't reply will be fired like the one today. So it seems she really did fire me just for not praising her. The boss sure was lucky with this girlfriend. Everyone started replying in the group. I found it ridiculous and left all the groups immediately. My phone became much quieter. However, since Tiffany refused to pay me for the last month, I decided to teach her a lesson. All the important clients were saved in my contacts, so I sent out a mass message informing them that I had resigned and would no longer be managing their accounts. Most of them were clients I had secured myself and only worked with the company because of me. If I left, it was highly likely they would too. And yes, just as I had imagined, in less than 2 minutes they were messaging me, asking which company I had moved to and saying they were ready to change their contracts. I explained the situation to each of them, telling them I hadn't found a new job yet but would reach out as soon as I had something. There were so many contacts that I kept replying to messages until it got dark. Exhausted, I fell asleep. The next morning when I woke up, a colleague had sent me a message. It was simple, short, but it made my heart race. Dude, the boss came back early. I sat up straight in bed. I hadn't even had my coffee, but my head was already spinning at full speed. I opened the rest of the messages and saw 2 more from the same colleague. Tiffany is losing her mind, and another, he wants to talk to you. Urgently. I felt a mix of satisfaction and relief. Finally, Tiffany's little theater had an audience, and now the main actor she had tried to erase from the story was about to get a standing ovation. Or at least be avenged, as he deserved. I grabbed my phone and on impulse went straight to the company group. It was still muted, but I hadn't completely left it. And there she was, Tiffany, sending another 2-minute voice message demanding people react to her Snapchat stories and say how pretty she looked in her navy blue blazer. Pathetic. I ignored it. Instead, I went to my kitchen, calmly made my coffee, and put the phone on speaker. I called the boss. I wasn't going to run to him like some desperate employee. I didn't work there anymore. I was free. On the 3rd ring, he picked up. Hello. Jack speaking. I heard you came back early. Ah, Jack, his voice had a hard-to-define tone, anger, frustration, maybe a bit of guilt. We need to talk. Now. Can you come here? Depends. Do you want to talk to me as my ex-boss or as the boyfriend of the woman who tried to destroy me? Silence. As your ex-boss. Then say what you want. He sighed. Tiffany told me you left. She didn't say she fired you, just that you walked away. But things are weird here. Lots of clients are canceling contracts. The staff is upset. I just want to understand what happened. I had to hold back my laughter. Now he wanted to understand. I was fired in your office with a folder thrown in my face, for arriving at 10 o'clock, like I always did with your permission. She thought she could do whatever she wanted because she was your girlfriend. And of course, she confiscated my salary as punishment. More silence. Long, tense. She fired you, like tossing out a disposable cup. Damn. You can call her and confirm, or better yet, read the emails and messages. Check how many clients left you. All with the same pattern, contacts who were only here because of me. Jack, I didn't know. Yes, you did. You just didn't want to see it. But it's fine. I also kept my eyes closed for far too long. Are you going to sue? I didn't smile, I took a sip of my coffee. I'm not going to sue, yet. But I'm considering it. Oh, and if she keeps saying nonsense or threatening people in the company, then yes, you'll see me in court gladly. He went silent for a while, then let out a breath. Can you come here now? Sure, just give me 1 hour. I hung up and got dressed with the calm of someone who has already won. Black shirt, well-fitted blazer, and the same cologne I wore on my first day at the company, the one I used without knowing it would change the fate of the place. When I arrived at the company, I didn't need to say anything. The look said it all, people who admired me, people who were afraid of Tiffany, and people who until now had pretended not to know anything, but suddenly wanted to be on my side. She appeared in the hallway as soon as she saw me come in, her high heels clacking firmly on the wooden floor. You're not authorized to be here. I have an invitation from the owner of the company. And you? She froze, her eyes trying to hide the panic, but it was already too late. The boss appeared right after, his gaze weary, his posture tired, but his words were direct. Tiffany. My office. Now. She still tried to shoot me a glare, but she had no ammo left. They walked in, the door closed, and I waited there. Because now the game had changed, and I had the advantage. She didn't know it yet, but what was coming next would be the beginning of her fall. The door stayed closed for exactly 18 minutes. Yes, I counted. During that time, I saw the finance assistant walk out with her eyes wide open. 2 colleagues rushed past holding folders, whispering, "The boss is furious." And in the company group chat, where I still had access, desperate messages from Tiffany started popping up, begging people not to speak to the press, as if this were some kind of institutional or international crisis. When the door finally opened, the boss came out first. He looked at me with a tense expression but said nothing, just nodded, signaling me to come in. She was there, Tiffany, sitting with her arms crossed, but now her face was pale and her eyes red. She didn't dare look at me. Close the door, Jack, the boss said firmly. I closed it. He sat down in the chair and looked at me for a moment, far too long. I received more than 24 termination emails this morning. Every single one of them named you as the reason for their departure. Every single one. And another 12 clients said they're waiting for you to sign with another company so they can switch immediately. I crossed my arms. Well, that must be a coincidence, right? Tiffany tried to speak, but he raised his hand. Not now. I asked for silence. She shrank down. For the first time, I saw real fear in her eyes, and rightfully so. Jack, I want to understand. Did you leave out of pride, or anger? I was fired. Verbally abused. My salary was confiscated over a made-up rule. I was treated like garbage by the person you put in charge. Do you really think this is about pride? He sighed. You should have come to me before sending messages to the clients. I should have left the day you let her take my place in practice. Silence. Tiffany scoffed. This is ridiculous. They left because he manipulates everyone. He's always played the hero. If those clients are his, then let him go with them. The boss slowly turned to her. Tiffany, you stole an employee's salary with no justification. You made up rules midweek. You fired the person responsible for 80% of the company's revenue, by throwing a folder in his face. I'm your girlfriend, she shouted. I have the right to have a say here. You had a say. Now you don't even have a chair. As of today, you are out of the company. She turned pale. What? That's right. You caused absurd damage. If he decides to take this to court, we're going to lose. And now you're leaving. Now. You're choosing him over me. I'm choosing the company I built, and the one you almost destroyed in 3 weeks. She screamed something, slammed the table, and threw her phone on the floor. A scene worthy of a Mexican soap opera. And she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. The last image I had of her was of someone who thought she could command others just because she had a ring. She forgot that a ring doesn't buy respect. The boss turned to me and took a deep breath. Give me a chance to fix this. I want you back, with double the salary, a new position, and total autonomy. I laughed. Now it's easy, huh? His eyes widened. You're not coming back. I have 3 major companies wanting to meet with me today, strong offers. One of them even offered bonuses for every client I bring in. And look, the clients are already waiting. He rubbed his face, frustrated. So you're really leaving? I already left. I stood up and walked toward the door. Before leaving, I looked at him one last time. And you want some advice? Next time you have to choose between loyalty and appearances, choose the one who stood by you when your company was just an empty building. And I walked out. Outside, the co-workers looked at me like they were seeing a legend. One of them murmured, "She fell." I just nodded. And you? He asked. I'm going where I'm valued. Because too much talent in the wrong place becomes waste. In the car, my phone wouldn't stop vibrating, offers, client messages, interview invitations, emails with subject lines like, "We need you, there's a space with your name on it, Jack, we want to talk." As I drove home, one thing was clear, I was no longer just a salesperson. I was the name that made the game turn, and now, finally, it was my turn to choose the board. That afternoon, I did absolutely nothing, and still, it was the most productive day of the week. While I rested on the couch with my laptop on my lap, I watched the emails appear, one by one, as if the universe was delivering the fruits of my patience, of not lowering myself to Tiffany's level. Some messages came from former clients, others from directors of companies that had always wanted to work with me but never had the chance. Now they didn't just want it, they were begging. They offered signing bonuses, full managerial freedom, profit sharing. And one of them, the one that impressed me most, offered 10% commission on all the contracts I brought with me. That was money Tiffany wouldn't even be able to count without a calculator. But the best was yet to come. At the end of the afternoon, I received a message from a colleague from the old company. It said only, "Turn on the TV, local channel." Now. I opened the stream on my laptop, and froze. There she was. Tiffany Fox. Sitting next to a reporter, looking like someone who didn't want to be there. The title beneath her read, "Scandal at Tech Company, Owner's Girlfriend Causes Mass Client Exodus." She forced a smile, but the sweat on her forehead gave away her nervousness. She tried to justify everything as management differences, internal restructuring, and necessary cultural shifts. The journalist, of course, didn't buy a word. But the truth is, more than 30 contracts were cancelled, isn't that right? He pressed. And all of them named the dismissal of employee Jack Wilson as the direct reason. She froze for several seconds. The image stuttered. It was almost possible to hear the sound of her ego cracking into pieces. Those people were too loyal to him. That created a kind of idolization. So the center of the company is not results, he interrupted. Silence. The interview didn't last much longer after that. And on social media, the damage was even worse. Videos of her yelling at employees began to leak, screenshots of messages demanding likes on her social media, audio clips of her threatening to cut salaries, and even the screenshot of the company group chat with her ordering everyone to comment, "Pretty," on her story with the navy blazer. Ridiculous? Yes. Humiliating? Absolutely. Well-deserved? No doubt. That night, I watched with satisfaction as her name became a synonym for corporate joke. People were mimicking the audios, sharing the videos, making memes, Tiffany, CEO of the likes. And while she fell, I rose. I closed a deal with one of the companies that offered me full freedom. I signed digitally. In less than 24 hours, I already had my new desk, my new team, and best of all, my own client development department, where no one but me had the final word. I received a message from my ex-boss. She's gone. I let her go. I know it's late, but I wanted to thank you for everything. You were right from the start. I replied with a thumbs up emoji. That night, I went to bed with a clear conscience. I didn't need to yell. I didn't need to threaten. Tiffany dug her own grave, and threw herself in with high heels on. And the whole world watched. The next morning, after Tiffany's public downfall, my phone wouldn't stop ringing. Clients congratulating me, ex-coworkers messaging me saying, "You won," for all of us, and even former competitors acknowledging what many had been afraid to admit until then, I was the name behind the success of that company. At exactly 10 o'clock, oh, the irony, I received another call from the ex-boss. This time, he was direct. "Jack, I know you must already be committed to another company, but I have to at least try." Today, I stayed quiet. "I'm willing to do anything. I'll double your previous salary. I'll give you company shares, total freedom, corporate credit card, bonuses for hitting goals. You can build your own team, choose your hours, and if you want, even work from home." I murmured, pretending to reflect. "Give me a minute." I put the call on hold, took a deep breath, and smiled. This was the same man who, a month earlier, had left the company in the hands of an unstable woman driven by vanity and resentment. Now he was offering me everything, even the keys to the building, as if trying to put out a fire with a glass of water. I returned to the call. "Look, I truly appreciate it. But the answer is no." Silence on the other end. He hadn't expected it. "Can I ask why?" "Because now I've understood something I should have realized a long time ago. When you're good, they treat you as useful. When you're necessary, they treat you as indispensable. But when you belong to yourself, that's when they respect you. And I'm tired of being useful to someone who didn't know how to protect me." He tried to insist, but I ended it. "You lost me. And it wasn't when you signed the termination paper. It was when you silently watched someone spit on everything I built here. Now it's your turn. And honestly, good luck. You're going to need it." I hung up. No drama, no bitterness, just certainty. I spent the rest of the day organizing my new team. I pulled out old contacts, reactivated dormant leads, sat down with people who had wanted to work with me for months, and assembled my own squad, the best, the most loyal. In the afternoon, I went to the old company, not to beg, not to cause a scene. I went to retrieve a folder I'd forgotten in the drawer. One that had handwritten notes on a crumpled piece of paper, data from the 51 contracts that had once saved that company from collapse. When I walked in, the atmosphere felt emptier. The energy was lower. The halls, once full of voices and phone calls, were now quiet. People had their heads down. Tension hung in the air. I saw a few colleagues. They greeted me like you would a brilliant former student returning to school. One of them whispered, "The vibe is awful. The boss is going from room to room trying to motivate the staff, but no one believes him anymore." I grabbed my folder, thanked them, and began to leave. On my way out, I saw the receptionist. She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "Jack, you did the right thing. She never deserved to be in charge here. And you were always the only one who truly took care of all this." I hugged her. "Take care of yourself, okay? And if you ever want a new opportunity, call me. Now I'm hiring too." I returned to my car, took a deep breath, and in that instant, I understood. I wasn't getting revenge. I was setting myself free. And that choice was the most powerful one I've ever made. It took just 3 months. 90 days, that was the time between the moment I walked out, humiliated by the boss's bitter girlfriend, and the moment I became one of the most sought-after professionals in the industry. My new company, which at first was just a lean setup, grew like a rocket thanks to the clients who followed me. I secured partnerships that opened doors in other states. Before long, we stopped being an up-and-coming team and became a benchmark. I was invited to events, expos, workshops. One of the country's leading business magazines published an article titled, "The Salesman Who Became a Brand." And the funniest thing? It all started with an unfair dismissal. But I knew there was still one final piece to close this cycle, and it arrived one Monday morning, in the form of an email. Subject, "Sincere apologies. It was from the ex-boss. Jack, I've been following your journey and I can't deny how much you've grown. Tiffany left me, or better yet, ran away from it all after no one wanted to work with her anymore. She's currently involved in 2 lawsuits for abusive conduct. As for the company, well, the company is on life support. I know you don't need this, but I wanted to apologize. You were always more than just an employee. You were the soul of the company. And I let someone with zero vision and a lot of ego destroy that. I paused for a second and took a deep breath before finishing the email. He ended it with a pathetic line. If you ever want to come back, the doors will be open. I smiled. And I deleted the message. Not because I was angry, because I no longer needed anyone's validation. I was the boss now. Not of just any company, of my company. With my own team. Clients who trusted me. Loyal people. No suck-ups, no arrogance, no games. Today, when I walk into the office, everyone greets me with respect, not because I'm the owner, but because they know the road I've walked. They know my story. And they've understood that no one builds anything great by being small on the inside. Tiffany vanished from the corporate map. As far as I heard, she tried to start a women's leadership channel, but was crushed in the comments after videos surfaced of her firing people for not reacting to her stories. The internet doesn't forget. And digital justice is merciless. As for the ex-boss, he's still trying to keep the company afloat, but without real leadership, without vision, and without soul, failure is just a matter of time. And me? I'm still here. Doing more. Falling early, getting up fast, and holding my head high. Because I never had to step on anyone to rise. You know what the best part is about owning the game today? No one else can take me off the board. And today, when I sit in my chair, I look around and remember everything that happened. And I think only one thing. Thank goodness they fired me.